Is there a motion regarding approval?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We have an announcement first thing this morning. We learned this week that we had a loss at the Transportation Licensing Commission this week. Brandy Dismaying passed away Sunday morning. She joined the staff at the Transportation Licensing Commission a couple of years ago. As many of you know, she worked also previously with Nash Vegas Taxi and Checker Cab. It was a sudden loss for all those who know Miss Dismaying, and she's going to be sorely dismissed. But I wanted to say something on the record. Funeral services have been made, and if those are interested in learning what those are, you can talk to Mr. Fields after our meeting. The first item on our agenda is under Wrecker and Towing Services. We have a request for non-consent towing license from Mikey's Towing and Recovery. Mr. Fields?
Anytime a wrecker company wants to be a non-consent towing company, they have to make application. They have to have been in business for more than a year, and they have to be in a company that has generally done a good job, and we've not had a lot of problems. I do have a couple of questions for them, but I think they're present and would like to be heard. Mikey's?
Hello, if you'll please introduce yourself.
I'm Michael Coleman, Mikey's Towing and Recovery.
I just want to make sure, if presently our records indicate there are two wrecker companies that are storing at your address on Shakespeare Avenue.
Yeah, Mitch's lease is up.
Okay, so he's going to be leaving?
Yeah.
Because you can own...
He's going to use the, I own the whole road.
Right.
Several. He's going to use the other lot. And
Okay.
then I'm using the main lot again.
Okay, so yours will be separated and locked,
Yes.
and
Yes.
obviously it'll have to be inspected to make sure it meets all the standards,
Yes.
but you'll be able to get that in order. Secondly, are your trucks now all have the Mikeys on the side? I know you had swapped some and changed some, but all those are now
Everything's good.
the yellow one and the red one, and
Yellow one's gone, red one's gone, orange one's gone. I'm only running two trucks right now.
okay, I haven't seen, but I don't see all of them, so.
Yeah.
Okay, are they of the same color?
Now, the Dodge has got the graphics on it that I've had since '08, and then
Okay.
my big green top kick, the same one I've had
Okay,
for.
that's fine. Those are just questions I've had. Again, what the ordinance requires is they be in business for more than a year, have a record with the commission, and we've not had any disciplinary issues or any problems to bring in front of the commission.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Sergeant Bork is here.
Great. We're going to take an item out of order. This falls under low-speed vehicles. We have a request by the low-speed vehicle companies to operate during CMA Music Fest Week. Mr. Fields?
A couple of the low-speed vehicle companies have requested permission to operate during the afternoon rush hour during the CMA Fest, which will be coming up here in a week or so. Presently, they are banned from the streets from 7 to 9 and then 4 to 6 in the afternoons. That rule is your rule, which, in other words, it's your decision whether or not they can operate during those times. So they're here. Of course, the police were notified, and they're here also to make comments if they choose. And the LSV companies are here. We have representatives. Would you like to hear from the
Yes.
LSVs first?
Yeah, we'll hear from the LSVs first.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Sosmore, founder of Joyride. We've had a couple of requests like we do every year for transportation to and from staging, off-site places. Most of the businesses that are on Music Row, Universal Music Group, Warner Music, they need artist transportation, and just cars aren't available. So they've requested that we provide the transportation during those times. Most of them are. We have a couple different ones. Most of them are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday transportation, 9 hours apiece, starting usually at 7 a.m. and going until 7 p.m.
That's June 6th through the 10th?
Correct.
Are these contracts you have specifically for artists, or are you wanting to do the artists and general public?
It's mostly for the contracts, but I think last year we requested that we be able to do pickups during those times for CMA, and it was granted. The problem is during that whole week, we'll probably each day get anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 phone calls in a single day, and requesting rides during those times, and we just don't have the manpower to tell them, sorry, we can't, and just keep answering the phones. So we would like to request that we be able to run during those times during the week, just to go ahead and move everybody around Nashville.
So it's not just a request for a specific contract, but for open for business.
Correct.
And 7 to 9 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the evening?
Correct.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
We would like to request, we're usually busy the week before and the week after CMA. People come into town and they want to do stuff the week before and then the week after. But, just the week of CMA, Monday through Sunday, if that's what we're requesting, that would be fine.
But you're not banned during those hours on Saturday and Sunday, though?
Correct.
All right, so it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is the CMA festival that you would need the exception.
For the events, correct.
Yeah.
But we would like Monday through Sunday to be open just for the influx of business that we're going to have.
So you want June 4th through June the 9th?
Probably June the 12th.
Probably the 12th, yeah.
Oh, all the way over to the Monday.
Correct.
So from Monday to Monday.
Correct.
Is that the 12th?
The 1st to the 15th is about whenever this one we're going to be completely slammed. But,
What I'm assuming he's asking for.
I'm looking at Monday to Monday. It looks like it's June 4th through June 11th.
Yeah, what happens with CMA week, it's become there, you have the specific festival time periods.
Mm-hmm.
What's now happened in the last couple of years, it actually starts amping up in 1st of June, but then the weekend before, pre-parties begin, the record labels, the management companies, then you have the CMT Awards are Tuesday night.
correct.
So you got the Country Music Television Awards coming in, and you've got the pre-parties for that. So that's, I assume, and I'm not speaking for them for or against, I'm just, that whole week has become a true music fest in Nashville for people to come to.
What dates are you specifically asking for?
If I was being specific, the 1st to the 15th would if I was going to ask. We have contracts in place for the Wednesday through Sunday.
And that Wednesday through Sunday would be the 6th through the 10th.
Correct.
Okay. So you'd like to start Friday the 1st and go to Friday the 15th.
Correct. And if we can pull our people off the road during rush hour traffic, that's completely fine. Most of our guys come off the road during that time anyways, so it's not that we're going to put all our carts out during those time periods, just as the calls come in and as we're needed.
So are you saying that during rush hour 7 to 9 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the evening, you don't?
We'd like to be able to pick up people that called and requested rides instead of trying to handle that flow that comes in, but if we don't have to be on the road, we're not going to make it mandatory for people to go out during those times periods because we don't want to cause any excess traffic either.
So you're saying you're going to have a policy, even though you might be able to go out, you're going to have a policy in the company that unless there's a real need for someone to go out and make a pickup, you're not going to put vehicles on the road.
Yeah, correct.
Mr. Fields, what was the ruling last year?
Last year, we modified it and allowed them to operate, trying to remember, I think we gave them the 3 days I think we gave them the 3 days last year.
I think it was the full week.
Was the full week?
Mhm.
I apologize, I meant to check the minutes and deny, but we did modify it some last year. And again, I think that's the reason the police, they want to be able to talk about last year, I think.
Did we happen to restrict the rush hour? Or was that an issue to be brought up last year? Did we restrict them at
It's
all?
my memory, we did restrict during the 4 to 6 rush hour during that time period?
I think that's what I think we came.
We raised it.
No, you opened it so we could run during those weeks
Okay.
for that week, from what I can remember.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have came up and requested if we already, because it was already in place, the 4 to 6, so.
Yeah, the 4 to 6 restriction's been in place, I think, since 2016.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone else who needed to add anything to Mr. Sizemore's comments before we hear from Sergeant Bork?
Cruz and the other LSV company, Mr. Winters, I got an email from him this morning. He cannot be here. He thought he would be back in from out of town and could not be here this afternoon. He has basically the same request.
Okay.
Well, I would imagine if we open it for one,
Yeah.
we're open it for all.
Correct.
All right, Sergeant Bork?
We get ourselves in a problem.
I'm Sergeant Bork, Special Events Unit for the Police Department. Our concern would be less with them and more, does this lead to the other types of transportation wanting to get the same type of permissions? Last year, the Thursday of CMA was the busiest traffic we had for rush hour, actually the whole day. We pulled traffic on Korean Veterans Boulevard for 16 hours, and we had never done that before in the history of Nashville. We had to have officers constantly working the lights because that's how much traffic we had. It was it stayed in till about 2 p.m. coming in, and then we had the out at rush hour, and then through the start of the concert till about 8 o'clock. I mean, it was an all-day thing, so not excited about having anything slow down the traffic. During those hours, we wouldn't do it during the not as busy times. I don't know why we would do it during the busiest times. But since their vehicles go 25, 30 miles an hour, it's not as big as a concern. We definitely don't want the pedicabs and the pedal taverns operating. Of course, I think last year we banned them from coming past 8th Avenue. We did allow the pedal cabs, but they told us they could go 25. And I want to tell you that is not true. Caught several of them going 6 to 8 miles an hour, and I asked them if they were using their motor assist, and they were. And they said the only time they can go 25 is down a hill with nobody on it. So we would not like them back this year. If we do the nobody in from 8th Avenue, we want the pedal cabs out because they're slowing down our traffic, especially when we have the one-way for CMT awards that goes up 4th Avenue from Broadway to Commerce and on Korean Veterans because they cannot achieve the speed of traffic.
Sergeant Bork, the traffic you're talking about coming in, is that mostly people to attend the CMA awards or the
Yes,
events that are going on?
It's a lot of hotel check-in on the Thursday since it's the first day of the event. That's what we're figuring because we pull the rush hour traffic from 7 to 9 is what we usually do, and after 9 o'clock, 9:30, we usually can let those officers go do other things. And this year we couldn't. We had to keep them on the lights the entire time. It just kept flowing in.
Because I work downtown, and I've noticed downtown, and this is anecdotal because it's from my office as well as several offices around in my building, we're letting everybody go early. We're letting folks go at 2 o'clock starting Thursday, and sometimes don't even come in on Friday. And a lot of other offices are telling their folks, stay home on Friday, work from home. So I get a sense that the typical rush hour traffic of people coming to work and leaving from work is diminishes when everybody's expecting CMA coming into town. So that's why I was asking, who are these people you see coming in that are blocking up the streets?
We don't know where they're going.
Right.
We just know that after 9:30,
Yeah.
that's people not going to work. Those are people coming for the event or coming to a hotel. So that's what the traffic's got to be. So for us to have to pull that traffic, normally what I would do is I would put rovers directing that traffic because it was only going to be a 2-hour assignment, and then they would go do roving patrols, tow cars, that kind of thing. Last year we couldn't do that. We had to staff it the entire time. So this year we've had to move staffing where they're not tying up the rovers, that it's going to be specifically a post, an all-day post for 16 hours where an officer is there the entire time to move the traffic.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Sergeant Moore. Any other questions?
Well, one of the things I wanted to make sure, one of the things you would also like us to do, and that it is part of what we did last year, we basically kept the pedals, the carriages, the pedal carriages, and the pedicabs out of the inner loop.
It was, we allowed the pedal taverns to go up to Rosa Parks, 8th Avenue, where they could make that
Okay,
circle.
so just
and
8th Avenue.
They stayed 8th and out and didn't come in.
Gotcha.
Didn't really hear any complaints about that. As long as they're not operating during rush hour, I think that would be fine. We would like to do the same with the pedicabs. We allowed the pedicabs to come in because they told us they could go 25 miles an hour, so they could keep pace with traffic, but that's not true.
Okay.
So we would like to keep them out because they're not going to be able to keep pace with traffic, and it's going to slow us down.
All right. And the carriage stand's closed because of location downtown, so they're not a factor. Yeah.
And the rush hour is the 7 to 9 or just the 4 to 6?
The 7 to 9 is busy, but it's not as critical as the 4 to 6. That is when we really get the crunch.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So it looks like we have a request at a minimum to have the low-speed vehicles operate the week of the CMAs, which is
6th through the
the
10th.
6th through the 10th, and if we backed up to the Monday, it'd be the 4th through the 10th. And based on information from Mr. Fields, last year we permitted the low-speed vehicles to operate during the 4 to 6 rush hour time frame that week on those same days, that Monday through Friday. Sergeant Bork has indicated that the police department has some concerns about allowing the low-speed vehicles to operate during those times, but certainly had greater concerns about the pedicabs and pedal carriages, and in fact wanted us to restrict those types of vehicles that week to be prohibited from traveling within the 8th Avenue and inward section of downtown. It sounds to me, just based on Sergeant Bork's comments, that allowing the low-speed vehicles to operate during that 4 to 6 time frame is certainly feasible, considering it already is kind of a special event week as it is, and hearing from Sergeant Bork, it sounds like it was traffic flowed just as well with the low-speed vehicles as it did with a car.
Do you see any reason why we would just make if we made an exception, why it would only be the 4 to 6 and not go ahead and do the 7 to 9, just open it up?
Not necessarily. I was merely trying to take into consideration Mr. Sizemore's comments on how the 4 to 6 time frame is far more important than the 7 to 9. And I mean, we already have very good reasons why we have a prohibition in place on rush hour operations anyway. So I guess I just didn't hear a good reason why we should allow them to operate in the mornings.
Mrs. Osmore, is there
There was one of the events that started at 7. It goes from 7 to 7.
Can you come up so we can hear you now?
Sorry, the times of the event are 7 to 7. The other thing is we've been in communication with CMA and discussing routes and things like that. KVB is something we can't go over, and we won't anyway. Either way, we're going to try to keep our guys from even going over to that side of the interstate or the river.
Yeah, I know you're very involved in your business and you try to be proactive. I would really like to see some ideas from you, generated from the industry, as to what can be done, if we make exceptions, what can be done to minimize the impact that's occurring out there. And I'm not asking you to do it right now on the wing, but you mentioned one, which was we're going to encourage our drivers not to go out unless there's a call or unless there's a contract to fulfill. That's a great step. We can't police it, but things that you can do that keep everybody in good step with the police and the flow of traffic. I mean,
Yeah, we met with the traffic study company.
Mhm.
Had a great meeting with them. I think we were there for about 3 hours. Me and the other company. That's I guess the other two companies are no longer in existence, but had a great meeting with them. They looked at all of our data, and I guess it opened their eyes to the need and necessity of what we do, the number of calls.
I hear that. I'm talking about, though, when you're coming up here for an exception. If you could come in with a proposal of how you're going to minimize the impact if we grant an exception.
Okay.
And then, as was pointed out as well, that is, what is your real need for this? I've heard there's contracts. Well, I'd love to see a contract. I also would wonder why you were engaging in a contract before you got the exception. But just to actually see, here's how we're actually going to help reduce the flow of traffic.
Okay.
Or help improve the flow of traffic, I should say, not reduce it.
Okay, just for me, on record, your request is for 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. from the 1st to the 15th of June. That is your open general request before anything is pieced out of that. That's what you would like to have.
Correct.
So it's carte blanche from the 1st to the 15th.
If I'm requesting, yes.
Yeah. Can you live with the 4th through the 10th?
Yes, of course.
All right.
Of course.
Well, to get things moving, I'll make a motion to grant an exception to the prohibition for low-speed vehicles to operate from 7 to 9 through 4 to 6 to allow them to operate without the restrictions starting on June 4th at 7 a.m. through the end of June 10th, with the restrictions being back in place starting on June 11th.
You want to add anything on the pedals, on the Rosa Parks?
I would want to do that separately.
Oh,
That's all right.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
One reason I didn't want to add anything about the pedal carriages or the pedal cabs is I'm not completely sure I understand the zone that we would be barring them from coming into.
we would basically, based on what the sergeant has shared, we would basically restrict their movement to no closer to downtown than Rosa Parks and 8th Avenue, so they could operate it anywhere they normally operate beyond, but they would not be able to come into the downtown core.
So from the Gulch over to 8th Avenue, they could operate, and we're talking about those pedal taverns as well, and
Right.
pedal cabs.
Right. And they'd still have their rush hour restrictions.
So everything from 8th Avenue, Rosa Park to the river, they would be prohibited from being
Yes.
down there. And where are we going north and south with that restriction?
Well, they can't operate on Rosa Parks. I mean, on KVB. So you could probably go from the Demumbrian. You could use Demumbrian as the street, the northern border where Demumbrian crosses, where Demumbrian and Interstate meet. That's normally the way they come downtown anyway. But
So the section would be 8th Avenue, Rosa Park, with the south side being Demumbrium and Charlotte on the north side.
that would cover all those because they're not going that far anyway. The pedal carriages typically are only working on in that area. They're going to do Music Row, they'll do Demumbrian, they'll do some areas in there. And the pedicabs are generally downtown anyway, so they may be doing some of that work out there, but that wouldn't be their primary area based on what they've described to us.
And if we were to restrict them, do we have to have a public hearing on that before we do it?
No, actually, I can restrict them myself. If you tell me you want to do that, I can do that without your action at all.
And how do we? And you'll notify them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this is to prohibit them from operating at all during any hours?
No,
that week?
just during, in other words, it would just keep them during their hours of being downtown during this time period. That was what we basically stopped them last year from being downtown because they moved so slow during that, from even during the rush during the days. I think we kept them out of downtown.
Well,
But I know that's the request that Sergeant Bork is making.
From the 6th through the 10th?
Sergeant, could you come back 1 second?
What's that?
Would you want the restriction to be just the 6th through the 10th, or do you want that entire CMA week? In other words, what we would do, what I think they're headed, they're going to ask me, and what I'll do is I'll keep the pedal vehicles from coming across 8th and Rosa Parks. I just need a time period you'd like for them to stop during CMA.
If we could get it on the Monday, because they'll be shutting down all those the sections of Broadway. So all you're going to have is north-south traffic from Demonbreun to Commerce. There's not going to be any traffic on Broadway because they'll be doing setup. So if we could start that on the Monday, that would be great.
So we'll start on the 4th, and we'll operate that through
The 10th.
the Monday morning.
Do you think we would really need to prohibit them over the weekend?
I don't have the information with me. I'd have to go back and look at my computer to see what they're going to be setting up. I know there will be some setup. First will be closed. I know Broadway from 1st to 2nd will be closed, but I don't know if they're going to have the other sections closed. So I'm not trying to put anybody out of business or anything.
Right.
If there's room for them to operate, we want them to operate. But once those roads go to north-south only, and we're not going to have any cross traffic on Broadway, they're going to tie up everything. So definitely the Monday, I know for sure. But I would have to look at the closure schedule to see if it was going to be affected over the weekend.
Typically, they don't lift the final street closure till like 2 in the morning on Monday. They'll start breaking the streets down after the festival, but they keep a lot of the streets closed throughout the entire. They'll start closing Sunday night, and they'll close up and down Broadway and the side streets for all week.
Yes.
It's a lot of street closures.
Yeah. And on CMT is also going to close Broadway, starting on, I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday for the stage close. So they're going to close from 4th to 5th, and then as traffic gets bad, they're going to bounce out to 7th. So there's going to be even more closure of Broadway on that Tuesday, Wednesday as well.
Their intention is very much like last year. I think they'll have an outdoor stage. The awards will have the indoor stage at Bridgestone, the outdoor stage on Broadway, and then the television coverage shifts back and forth. Also, the rooftops of the buildings. So.
Thank
Good?
you. Yep. Well, I would make a recommendation that we authorize Mr. Fields to notify the pedal carriages and the pedicabs restricting their access to downtown from June 4th to June 10th as described, as Mr. Fields described in the zone described by Mr. Fields.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. We also have 2 driver applications under wrecker and towing services. The first is Mr. Zarko Novakovic and also Robert McSpadden.
Mr. Novakovic, that was close. In making his application, he failed to list a 2013 controlled substance charge. Since then, I think the only thing that he has had was a 2015 one-way, had a violation of the rotary traffic rule.
Suspended on 14, 15, failure to answer pay violation on 13. So we should have license suspension for that.
He will be working for TowPro if he's granted the certificate or license.
Is TowPro here?
No, they weren't able to come in personally. She said that she called in and spoke to somebody.
I believe they
I told them
notified
that
us.
if I get approved, that I'll start working with them as soon as possible.
And by practice of the commission, we no longer issue permits unless we have confirmation of who they're going to be working for.
Did you, that wasn't that long ago.
So what happened was,
yeah,
I
what
went
happened?
to the Davidson County Court's office, got my record for my criminal record, and I got also the driving record because they told me, you have to put everything down, which I did, and I spoke to the lady. I forgot her name. It was a Hispanic lady. I think she's a supervisor there at the court clerks, and I asked her, is there anything else? She's like, no, sweetie. She's like, that's all that there is on your record. And I didn't know about Laverne and Davidson counties. Like, it's not going to show it all together.
So you
And
were
I
doing this all by the record?
I forgot all about that
You
charge, too.
forgot?
Yeah. And if I would have even remembered it, I would have put it down. I just honestly forgot all about that.
What was the outcome of the case, of the controlled substance case?
It was just completing probation, and then cases would be expunged off my record.
So you're on probation?
No, sir. I already completed it.
I understand that. When you entered your guilty plea, you were
I was
placed on 1 year probation?
Yes, sir. 11/29.
So 11/29, that would have taken you from 2013 and 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't remember it?
I just forgot all about it, honestly.
Have you gotten it expunged?
I think they're automatically supposed to come off, is from what I was told. I don't know.
Okay.
I think because there was a deal.
When's the last time you took a drug test? When's the last time you took a drug test?
For for work or for?
Doesn't matter. When?
For work, about 2 months ago when I started working for a company called Men's Warehouse, and that's when I took in a physical and a drug test, and I went and got my medical DOT medical card and everything. But then I got offered a job at TowPro, so.
Somebody may have already asked you this. What was the drug?
Marijuana.
How much?
I think it was like a joint or something I had in the car. It was for my birthday, but it was really the guys.
All right, don't go there.
Yeah,
That's all right. I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Mr. McSpadden?
Mr. McSpadden? Robert McSpadden.
Always my
Mr. McSpadden had made application and he did not appear in April.
Move to dismiss
I'll
or
second.
deny the application, I should say.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We also have some driver applications for low-speed vehicles. We have 3: Clay Evans, Charles
One of the reasons.
Jeter, and Jeremy Kirkwood. Mr. Fields?
Clay Evans? Mr. Clay Evans. He was also deferred from the April meeting.
Move to deny.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Jeter, or Jeter?
My favorite players.
In making his
Derek Jeter.
application, he did not leave anything out. However, he did have a couple of domestic violence charges that were one in 2011, 2012. Commission has a very straightforward position on domestic
George,
issues, and so I'm bringing him for your review. Otherwise, he would qualify.
He is making a request to work for Joyride?
Yes, sir.
Joyride is still present.
What were the charges connection with the domestic bodily injury? What were the circumstances there?
What you mean?
Well, it looks like you listed domestic bodily injury arrest dates in November 2011 and June 2012, and that the first one ended with no conviction and the other
Sure.
one was no contest.
Yes, sir.
I think there was one.
I was given, basically given,
It was actually a tie-in to the vandalism that was listed on there, which was a broken TV. And I was given the option, basically from the court-appointed counsel, that I had basically two options. And they said you can either plead not guilty and go in front of a jury, and if convicted, it's a felony. Or, he says, you can plead no contest, which is not pleading not guilty, or not pleading guilty, and avoid a possible felony, and we'll drop it to a misdemeanor. So obviously, with that facing me, I mean, I took the best option for me, as far as workforce or any opportunities I have from then forward, to just try to be able to move on.
You had a similar incident in 2001?
2001.
You said, I think it was a simple battery arrest.
2011.
Is that 11?
2011. And there was, that was the very first incident, and because it was a he said, she said, with no proof of anything. Obviously, I did everything I needed to do. Show up in court. At the time, I don't think I had counsel with me, but there was no proof. It was just basically a retaliation, just trying to retaliate, and it didn't fly with the court system.
Okay, I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
I see two distinct domestic assault cases. One's a warrant number GS 589004, and the other one's GS 554884. The one I think you just described, where you
Yes, sir.
pled no contest or no look contendere.
Yes.
And it looks like it's October 22nd, 2012, when you received 11 months, 29 days.
No, I didn't receive it. It was what do you call it? Deferred, or I didn't have to serve any time.
No, I'm not saying you had
okay.
to serve time, but you received a sentence and it was probated or you suspended. But
Yes, sir.
It was 11 months, 29 days. Looks like it was entered October 22nd, 2012.
Yes, sir.
And is that the one you were describing where you said you had some choices and you finally just went ahead
Yes,
and pled
sir.
no contest?
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Who was the alleged victim in that case?
Renee Grattrick,
And her relationship to you?
girlfriend.
Okay. Now, I see another one. I gave that warrant number ending in 884, and it says probation November 14th, 2011. What was that one? Who was the victim in that one?
That's the same thing. Both of the vandalism and the domestic bodily injury was that incident. The one that was no contest was a different incident a year before.
All right, you're confusing me now because you
Sorry.
said that's the same incident. It looks to me like these are two different incidences here of assault.
Okay, yes, I was talking about the vandalism and the domestic bodily injury. That was one incident.
All right, Dan, I see
The one before.
here that says an earlier one, November 14th, 2011, assault, domestic bodily injury. That's what's on the TBI.
Yes, no, that first one that's the one that was thrown out because there was no proof.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Who was the victim in that one?
Lacey Upchurch.
All right. Did you assault Lacey Upchurch?
No, sir.
Did she not show up for court?
No, she showed up for court. Basically, what I could have done better was bring a witness with me. Her father was there. Her father was there, so unfortunately, I didn't have a witness. And but during the court hearings and all, she was trying to state that I had physically harmed her, and there was no proof of that. And so the judge is just like, kind of gave that look like, I don't see any reason to, to convict you for anything. There's no proof here. It's basically what was stated.
All right. My concern is that within a year you have two different charges for assault with an allegation of domestic bodily injury.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Well,
How are we going to know that that won't happen again?
Sure.
Suppose you get frustrated with a rider.
Sure. The second one, if I may, I'd like to state exactly what happened, if that's okay. And the only person with a mark on them was me, and I brought that in court. I was hitting the leg with a candle in the glass as I was leaving the residence. The second one hit the TV, and then she went down and filed and said I broke her TV before I left. So that's where the vandalism came in. And there was nothing I could do. I had no witness. And what I've learned from then is, you can't be a man and break up in person. You got to do it on a text or a call. I don't take any chances anymore, honestly, because of that. When I told Miss Renee, which is the second offense there with the vandalism, when I told her about what happened the first, she used that against me. And knew that she could just go down and just make an accusation. And because I had the first one, was more than likely going to lean towards that.
When you were on probation, did you have to take anger management class?
I was forced to for 25 days. By my third day, me and this other gentleman, the lady that was teaching, walked us outside and point blank asked me, "Why are you here?" I want to hear. "Why are you here?" Because you guys don't belong here. It's exactly what she told me. And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I know, but I've got to go through it." And she says, "Just sit there and just go through it." She's like, just humor me.
So on the anger management classes, you just went through the motions?
No, that's what she told me to do. I mean, I just stated what happened. But there was no physical altercation between her and I. That's what I didn't understand. The only person with a picture of any marks showing anything was me. And they wasn't even interested in even entertaining that during the hearing. And I don't know if that was from going back before or not. But since then, like I said, anytime that there's a conversation or whatever, for myself, for my own well-being, I make a call. I don't go in person anymore.
10 years earlier
I bring a witness.
in Louisiana, you were charged with simple battery?
I was never charged. That was thrown out because I had...
Well, hold on.
Yes, sir.
That was thrown out. When something's thrown out, you had to have been charged.
Oh, I'm sorry. Convicted and charged. I got you. I understand. Yes, sir.
It looks like it's Gretna, Louisiana?
Yes, sir.
And you do write here, no conviction, but you were charged with simple battery? I'm looking at your handwriting. I think.
Right. I remember writing the two here. I don't remember the one there. I don't remember writing anything from Louisiana unless I accidentally put.
You want
Might
to
say okay. I don't remember writing it. But yeah, sure.
You don't remember writing that?
I really don't. Because it was a no conviction on that. That was.
You ever live in Gretna, Louisiana?
Actually, when that issue happened, that was in West Wego, Louisiana. I did live in Gretna, but right out of high school. That was. So I guess I put the wrong city, or wrong town. And just to inform you on that, the reason that was thrown out was she had tried to do the same thing with her ex, and him and I were friends, and it turned out that not only was that thrown out, but then she was convicted with a falsified police report. She had fingerprints on her neck, in which she had her friend do it, and actually had a witness to that. That was said, "Man, I'm going to speak up. I was there when this happened," because they had rekindled their relationship, and thank God he was there to be
So
a witness
you've just
for me.
had a lot of bad relationships.
Yes, sir, which is why I stay single, to be quite honest with you. That second time kind of scared the heck out of me when that happened, because I was just like, I was like, if it's that easy for someone to get their feelings hurt and to make accusations. And I want to be honest with you guys and let you know that after that second time, I did date somebody else, and this time, when I came to get my stuff, I brought an officer with me. Even after I left.
Wait, when was this occurring, that you had to get an officer to help you get your stuff from your latest girlfriend?
This was January of 2000, January 2016. That was, I bravened up and decided to try a relationship. I lasted 3 years, and I wasn't taking a chance of any accusations. Called an officer. I said, "Sir, I'd like for you to meet me there so I can get my stuff." And I explained to him what had happened to me before. He says, "That's a good idea." And so as I was leaving, the officer actually spoke to both of us, and the officer said, "Well, she's trying to, get an order of protection against you." I'm not going to grant it. And I said, "Yeah, she knows about the past stuff." I told her about it, and he says, "You may not want to tell people that anymore." I said, "Well, I was just trying to be honest, And so since then, obviously, like I said, I was like, man, even trying to do the right thing, that seems to be the go-to in my past, unfortunately. And so it basically scared the heck out of me when it comes to relationships. And so since then, I'm just not even interested in even going there, being susceptible to that. So in all honesty, I'd like to say that they're not the victim in this. I've been. And so I need to steer clear of that stuff. So.
Question for
Yes, sir.
Joyride.
Oh.
What type of, do you guys have any type of screening or pre-training before you put the guys out on the road as far as how to deal with maybe a hostile customer or flirting with customers? What's your policy on that?
Yeah, we have an entire handbook that goes into what happens during unruly customers, people who won't get off the vehicle and things like that. So they put them through an entire training day at our facility, and then we put them through the Convention and Visitors Bureau Platinum Ambassador class, which goes into how to treat customers and things like that here in Nashville.
No dating customer policy?
They're independent contractors. There's only a certain amount of regulations that we can put on them by law as independent contractors.
Gotcha.
We try not to exclude anyone from hiring. We let the TLC make that determination. Our insurance is a little stricter than the TLC rules, and that's mostly on driving record and age.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I deal with the public on not only a daily but a yearly basis. I'm a 13-year touring musician. I deal with the public now in 44 states in the bar scene. Have been in situations where if I allowed an altercation to happen, it did not happen. The last fight I've been in was in 12th grade in high school, just to show you how how I avoid confrontation at all costs with that, especially being in the public eye, because that can hurt my career. So that's probably a little bit of my fear that I'm telling you about, is this is something that could hurt my music career. It's done it for others. And I'm 13 years in the business and really close to being really successful. My first year at CMA Fest this year. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that Joyride is not the only time. I'm with public constantly in the bar scene where alcohol for them is involved. I'm not even a drinker. But even then, I've had to diffuse situations as an artist. As you know, as you may have a jealous boyfriend or something like that when you're doing a show. And I've never had an altercation in 13 years of that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that I deal with the public constantly and large crowds with alcohol on their side involved. Thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion regarding Mr. Jeter's application?
And I guess you might understand our pondering this a little bit because of the frequency of, you have passengers that are going to be on your vehicle that are going to be, that might be a little unruly. And that
Sure.
not just reflects on your career, but on the city as well.
Sure.
These are tourists that benefit the city.
Absolutely.
And reflects on CMAs and how well that went over, and
Sir.
we definitely wouldn't want to taint that with any type of incident. And I'm sure TowPro's Joyride is taking that into consideration. So,
Why do you want to ride or drive for Joyride?
With my extensive touring, anywhere from 8 to 9 months a year, it's hard to be able to juggle that and do a job that's not very flexible with your schedule, and be able to go in and out of town and still keep steady income if I've got 3 months off, especially if you've got a month off and you don't have any income. I mean, it's hard.
When you say you tour, what do? You play guitar, singer, or what?
I'm lead vocal. I'm also the owner of the band for 13 years.
What's the name?
Chaz Collins, with an S.
Where are you
Chaz
playing this week, or for CMA?
My first CMA, we're going to be at the Spotlight Stage in the Convention Center, Friday on the 8th, 4 to 4:45.
You know why I don't want to make a motion right now? Because I don't like your attitude about how you're the victim and everybody else was at fault, but yet there's a pattern of you being the one that's getting charged,
Sure.
or having to have the police help you remove things in relationships that have gone bad. And if I had some way of knowing you would actually go to an anger management or some sort of relationship type of counseling, and I knew you would actually go in with a commitment to improve, to be aware of these situations, I'd be more comfortable about it. But when I asked you about the anger management class, it was, I didn't need this. I shouldn't have been. I was forced to go, and I didn't need to be there.
Well, I did.
Those are attitude things that concern me about
Sure.
putting somebody out working with the public in this community.
I did get something out of it, for sure. As far as the being physical side, that's not, like I said, that's not something that I've had since high school, and that was actually self-defense. That was being jumped in high school. So that was more of defending myself. But the one thing I did, the main thing I took out of the anger management thing that it did help me with was how to control my surrounding, how to control my situations in order to not be in those situations, to be aware of who you associate yourself with. So that's what I meant by that. I mean, I don't mean that in any way that I never did anything wrong in a relationship. Sure, absolutely. And there's things I probably could have done better. And that's what I took out of it. That's what really helped me, and that's not only helped me now with relationships, but even friendships. Just people, from a psychology standpoint, that's really what did help me out of that, was to, be a little bit more selective of who you pick, and be smart about your decisions. If you're going to talk to someone and you know that this person can get irate when their feelings are hurt, if you've been with them long enough to see that, then you know how you should handle that next time. So that is my fault, to put myself in that situation. But I've been very, very good at being more aware of my surroundings and things like that. So it did help me very much in that aspect. of just making the correct decisions.
Is there a way to grant this and just put something in there to check up to see if there's been any incidences in the next 6 months or 3 months?
You could give him a permit and have certain stipulations on it. You could require him to come back every month for the next 6 months and give a report to you directly. You could require the company to give a report every month. So it's your license and permit to issue.
And you know, if one's granted, that we get complaints, that people know how to make complaints about a driver to us.
I've never had a complaint with any job or anything in my life with that.
We never did get any traction on the congeniality classes or anything for the low-speed vehicles, pedicabs, or anything, did we?
We never got anything. We can see if maybe the atmosphere is a little better for that now.
I was just thinking about in this specific case, if we could make that a condition.
He could go specifically to a class.
Would there be something available for him?
The CVC has some classes that I think we could probably get him into. We can't get masses of people into those classes.
Would you jump through a hoop to get this permit?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Haven't heard anything down the other side there. Thoughts?
I'm coming in kind of in the middle of it, so I'm probably going to abstain from this vote, but so I don't really.
I'm inclined to deny, but.
I would like to give him a chance to jump through the hoop. So I'd like to make a motion to grant approval. I don't know what the class is called or what that would entail.
You can say a staff arranged.
With you attending and completing a staff arranged meeting, council.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Would he come back in front
Abstain.
of would they come back in front of us afterwards, or how does that end?
Well, if it stays where it is, if it's approved. So if you'd like for him to come back, I think I've got the authority to bring him back without a motion from the commission. If you'd like to have him come back after the class, we would grant him the permit. He'd go to class. When he completes the class within the next 30 days, we'll bring him back to the June meeting. How about that? Is that simple enough?
That is. And I'd like to hear what you learned from the class.
Absolutely. And if I may, I would just ask for. Sorry.
Let's meet afterwards
Yes,
and talk
sir.
about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
So let's go ahead and Freddie, if you'll make the motion again, just so the record's clear.
So I motion to approve Mr. Jeter's application for Joyride upon completion of a staff-approved counseling class.
For him to come back in.
And for him to come back before the board for review on the June meeting.
So let me make sure we issue him a permit and he goes to the class and appears in other words, has to do that before the June meeting, or he goes to the class and then he gets the permit and he comes at the June meeting.
No, we're approving the permit with those stipulations.
That's fine.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And one abstention. All right, next we have an application from Jeremy Kirkwood.
Mr. Kirkwood, in making his application, Mr. Kirkwood failed to list a failure to appear as he had two charges. He put the other one out. He did not get this one on the application. It was a charge in 2006.
What was the charge, Mr. Kirkwood?
Failure to appear that I didn't put on there. I was totally unaware of it, totally forgot about it, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I'm confused. You did report an arrest for underage consumption in 2003, several speeding tickets,
Yes, sir.
and then there's a failure to appear for what date?
2006.
2006. Well, what was it you failed to appear for?
I have no clue.
Did you get it taken care of?
I'm assuming so. I don't yeah. Your guess is as good as mine. I didn't know.
It's public drunk.
That was the only arrest that I've ever had was that one, and I listed it.
That was the underage. You were 20 at the time, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
All right, out of Rutherford County.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And we're sure there's no capias issue for him?
Not on the TBI's record.
It looks like you had diversion on the underage consumption, diversion, 90 days, paid $250 fine. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I move to approve. These failure to appears occur often, frequently as a clerical mistake, and sometimes when someone missed court and then did show up for court and disposed of their case and the failure to appear wasn't cleared up. I encourage you to go down to Rutherford County and make sure this is taken care of.
Okay. I can do it.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Next, we have some driver applications for other passenger vehicles for hire. The first is James Hartz.
Mr. Hart? In making his application, Mr. Hart's failed to list a failure to be booked, driving on a suspended license, and a failure to appear.
They give you a citation and you missed the date to go down and be booked on it?
Completely forgot.
You forgot to go down and be booked?
I completely forgot.
All right. And then how did they eventually catch up with you and you get it all taken care of?
What was that date? I'm sorry.
October 27, 2015.
2015. Was completely confused by the situation, and then they came knocking on my door while I was cooking dinner, and that situation happened. So unfortunately, I was
And
just...
they made you go in, huh?
Yeah, I was blown away by that happening, nor did I know that that was a repercussion.
You listed on your application that you've had over 25 moving violations in your lifetime.
I was trying to cover all my bases, so to speak. When you say I've had a colorful driving record, if you will, being a motor transport Marine, after those situations, it all kind of gets blurry. And so I just wanted to make sure. The fact is I've already been approved for the low-speed vehicle permit. Comparatively speaking, I didn't know what I had listed on my other sheet, and so I wanted to make sure that I cleared everything because I've already been approved. It was just a difficult situation.
By us?
Yes, sir.
It would be a different process, a different application.
Yeah.
I was still expected to name every ticket in my life, and that uncertainty, you just want to make sure that you're completely transparent on the form.
So if you have a colorful driving record,
Yes, ma'am.
why do you want to be in a profession that requires you to drive?
Thank you for asking. It's kind of something I've just been in the situation. Like I said, because of my military experience, it kind of straightened out my driving attitude. Being a motor transport officer in the Marine Corps will teach you discipline, the understanding of being liable for my 62 other Marines. They're also drivers. And so it's kind of an opportunity to grow. I've also worked for another, as you can tell, if I was previously approved, I worked for that company as a general manager successfully for 1 year. So it's just kind of, it's what I'm good at. I'm a precision driver.
So that I'm clear, you had a colorful driving record in your early history.
Yes, ma'am.
You went to the Marines.
Yes, ma'am.
And as you said, I guess obtain some discipline. I think that was your word. I don't want to put words in your mouth, though.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you had some additional work experience as a manager that, caused additional personal growth, and you feel like you've left that colorful driving history behind. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely. Me being in charge of, at one point, I think it was 70 other employees that were driving. That's a realization of what type of responsibility you have on the road. And now that I'm in the position to be a driver and have a high profile status in regards to driving as a chauffeur, and also
I see it now.
I do outside sales for Music City Dream Cars. If that tells you anything, I drive Lamborghinis all day. And so the discipline in that regard is something that lends the story to why I do what I do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about the application process?
It's extensive, and rightfully so. I stand behind it 100%. If I can speak transparently, I wish it could be improved in the case that somebody's trying to be forthright and tell you absolutely everything on their record that they're familiar with. And if there was a suggestive process when you walk in the office at the TLC to go research your own records and spend the money to be transparent, answer honestly, make the job easier for the desk person, that's what I would advocate for. But in the situation of the difficulty, I completely understand its importance. It should be a stringent process, but when somebody's trying to be honest, I think it could be improved to the point where these fingerprinting and getting your federal record, getting your state record, whatever's required to answer that list, that blank piece of paper that has 25 lines, everybody wants to put everything on there, and I see it to be a difficult situation when somebody doesn't intend to not be transparent, but then they have to stand in front of you and just say, I forgot, or I didn't know. If we could obtain those records on the front end, I think it would make the process a lot more smooth and understandable, and that's all that I would suggest.
What about respect for the people who are trying to administrate the process?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand their position. Like I said, being a general manager, where on the front end of the TLC, implementing the LSV permits, I was involved in that implementation. So when I have 75 employees, 69 employees, trying to go through the process for you, with you, and by you, I have an intimate understanding and appreciation for not only process, but ways, and I'm a Marine, I'm SOP. So when I see a situation that could be improved, especially in a process that is overwhelming for everybody involved, I want to be suggestive towards that process. So that's where my opinions are coming from, by all means, not to be disruptive, but to be respectfully suggestive that if it can be approved, then why don't we do it together?
What happened the day you came into the TLC office and I think candidly were disrespectful to the staff there?
Not at all disrespectful. It took 3 conversations with 3 different employees. And so when I started asking difficult questions that we didn't have the answer to, I was excitedly.
Excitedly?
Excitedly. I was excited that I had thought to find a solution that would improve the process. And so me being that passionate about being suggestive, that could probably be taken intensely, but you have to understand, like I said, the way I know the process so intimately, 75 people coming to me, hey, am I supposed to fill out this piece of paper that I have no idea what I did in 1969? I have a driver that's 70 years old, and to fill out that piece of paper, I would be interested in smoothing the process by them being able to be referred to the correct resources to obtain that information. And so if it's posted on the court board to the right of the window, then that's great. sir, we can't give you any advice, we can't give you any consultation legally, but we can suggest you to the court board, and if you need to obtain any of your records, there's the number, there's the addresses, there's the process. This is how you figure out what we need on these lines. Don't guess. Go get your record, pay more money, answer it honestly, and we're not going to have any problems. We won't have anybody not being able to remember.
So you characterize the incident, looks like it was on May 9th, as excited, passionate, and intense.
It could be portrayed as intense, but I meant absolutely no disrespect.
Could
Never
someone
in a
else
million
have
years.
portrayed it differently?
Absolutely, sir. I definitely concede the miscommunication and misunderstanding of intentions.
So there's some part on your side of the street in this matter.
Absolutely. I take full responsibility for the perception that day in and day out people come in with complaints. People come in with problems and issues and questions.
Do you feel that your actions that day warrant an apology to the staff?
And I did, absolutely. On record with Billy Fields standing in front of me.
Mr. Fields.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fields. I made it clear and apparent that that was not my intention. I definitely know that I'm an intensely passionate person.
And so Ms. Steelman?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do you see Ms. Steelman here today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you owe her an apology?
Yeah, I've profusely apologized, looking directly at you behind on the other side of the window, and I hope it was, well taken, because like I said, I have no ill intent. I have no ill intent. I have no reason to not want to get a job smoothly or cause a problem. That was never my intention. I didn't mean to be offensive. I was just I'm a fixer. I was trying to create a solution. I saw an opportunity to try to get involved since I had been doing this since 2014 and create a solution. And I hate that it wasn't well taken, but still nonetheless, I just wanted to help.
You do understand the line of questioning is that part of our job is to discern demeanor because of the position that you guys are going to be put in the public, and that we're going to be held or questioned if we put someone with anger management problems out there, then it's going to go back to, okay, he was approved, did anybody ask him? So part of the process is not just to make sure that you get an MVR, which would list all your traffic violations, and you wouldn't just have to guess. I'm in the transportation industry myself, and I have never had anyone walk into my office to apply to drive one of my rigs without an MVR. And I mean, when you go get your driver's license, that's stated that if you need a copy of your driving record, you get a motor vehicle report.
I obtained one, yes, sir.
Right. So
I did pull one and bring it to the next meeting.
Right. So, but it was expressed here that your eagerness to help came across as anger, and so it's just part of the process to make sure that eagerness is not expressed other places.
Absolutely, and I took a phone call from Mr. Fields the morning that I came back at 8 a.m. to apologize. We actually discussed it in links, and I reminded him who I was, said I meant absolutely no disrespect, and off record, I was like, Billy, you know me. I just want to help. I'm sorry. And, in that sense, I just wanted you guys to understand where my heart is. And I do understand your responsibility. And I take that responsibility as well. As a general manager of 75 people out on the road, you have to know that I bleed, sweat, and cry when my representation is considered, failing. And so I take that completely to heart. So by all means, like I said, if I could excuse, I could reason about it, about why it came off that way, but it just didn't make sense to me why we weren't
creating a solution in that situation where people come up here and say, I just didn't know. And like I said, I pulled my MVR before I even went up there. I tried to be 2 steps ahead of the game, and it just wasn't enough documentation for me to pass through that.
So,
And I don't even know if this is an appropriate place to consider whether that's a valid thought or not. But if people are told where they can go get their record, then would that not give them a better ability to fill out your paperwork that makes it more efficient, to where there's no questions and the desk people never have to deal with that? Well, I don't know what's on my record. I just still, that was my only intention. I thought it was so simple, and that's why I was so kind of blatant about it. I was just like, we could fix this. And Mr. Fields, I hope, understands through our conversation that morning that was my 100% heart in the situation.
So if you get the license and you're dealing with a member of the public who, from your perspective, needs help, let's say from your perspective there's an aspect of this individual's life that you think is in disarray, let's just say, and you provide a suggestion about how to help, and it's not taken well. Can you tell us how you would react to that? Because it seems like you were trying to help in this situation. Is that correct?
We're talking about processes, not necessarily me trying to give advice for a personal issue, I think.
Okay.
But
so,
like I said,
so your delineation is that giving advice on how to improve a process is different than a situation where you might be trying to help in something related to this position. Is that correct?
I'm not exactly sure how they correlate, but
I guess what I'm trying to get across is how do we know that if you get this license and you are, in your mind, you are trying to help improve something with a member of the public, and it goes left? You know,
I don't feel like it went left. I just don't feel like there was answers to my question, and I was interested in following up on that. And like I said, I don't feel like it was a disagreement. I don't think any of the 3 people the clerks that I talked to, I don't feel like they feel like we were on the same page, but there was nothing they could do. Their hands were tied, and they couldn't give me a straight answer. And my inquisition was just, how can we fix this? I mean, don't they have an impact on the process to have it be improved if it makes their job easier? And unfortunately, that might have came off as offensive, and to say that I didn't want to create any defensiveness. And actually, if there's audio of that day and time, by all means, the audio. I mean, I'm still telling her yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I actually said I don't mean to be annoying, but wouldn't it make sense if I could obtain the information to come back in here and answer perfectly? If that exists, why wouldn't we implement that? And obviously, they don't have an answer. The only answer is they can't give legal advice or consult. And so it was just interesting to me that suggestion wasn't taken well.
Well, Mr. Hartz, I will say, I don't think that the process is necessarily inefficient already. I mean, the vast majority of applications that come through our office never get to this point. They're approved or automatically disapproved. I mean, everything is already completed in the application on paper, and it's only when there's a hiccup or someone intentionally leaves something off or someone forgets to put something on is when the applicant has to come before us. And so, I wasn't there on May 9th, and I only know what I see in front of me in writing as to the perception that Ms. Steelman, Ms. Dismang, and others had about your interaction, but clearly they felt like you were being very aggressive and rude to the staff, and that all three had to get involved to address whatever was going on.
Yeah, I was made aware by my potential employer that he received an email directly saying that they had emailed him about the situation. And so, like I said, my plan on that, I think it was Monday, Mr. Fields? Tuesday. I had planned to actually go down there, as a matter of fact, and I'll let him know that as well, just to clear up any misunderstandings and just to make sure that there was peace, because I've been in there before, I've been approved before, and it broke my heart that they had taken it any way other than trying to be helpful. So, and I showed up, and that, my testimony today is proven with my actions and going over there, and I showed up early, unannounced, to apologize to her. It saddens me for my want to help to be misconstrued like that.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Hartz?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
All right, I'll vote to approve. Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Kendra House.
In making her application, she listed several things, but she still failed to list multiple driving on suspended or revoked license. Her driving record is, her record is basically, that's what her records are, with failure to appear and driving on suspensions.
When was the date of the two that weren't reported? Do you have, I'm sorry.
Well,
I was having a hard time reading this.
well, in other words, they date back. There was one in 2018 she didn't list. And there's, again, it's challenging. There was one in, I think she got the one in 2016. She missed the one in 2015. She missed the one in 2014. No, two in 2014. 2000. She got the one in 2012. 2010.
Ms. House, why so many failures to appear and to pay and to?
At the time frame of just not having a job at the time frame with the situations, because they do go all the way back to like 2009, and so just missing court days. Just
right, but they go all the way through to almost present. So I mean, it's,
with the last
not
situation,
just your past. It's
yes, sir.
Still.
With the current one, I did forget. I ended up going the day after, and so it was a KPS. So I did forget that court date, but I have my license and the what's it called?
F endorsement?
I have my F endorsement, but I'm talking about the insurance, the SR22.
Yes, sir.
And so that's what that situation was. I had to go back to show that. And so, and I did, and the reason why I didn't do the, like I said, when I went to the place and asked the ladies, like I said, it was my first time doing this type of application, I asked what all did I need to write on there. She did tell me to go get the MVR. Once I did get the MVR, most of them were like mostly the same situations for the same date. So I asked her, you know, should I keep listing the same dates? So I listed everything that was on the MVR. But once I got denied, the paperwork she gave me was longer than the MVR. So I didn't know actually the accuracy of to put on the application. Because I would have, like I said, I don't even know how she printed this copy that she gave me, because I would have tried to go downtown or whatever you go to get this, and I would have listed everything.
Yeah, I was really curious because
the MVR I have doesn't match the list she printed that she gave me.
I was curious how you could be so accurate on the dates on your application that you filled in, because it's one of the most thorough, accurate ones I've seen.
But then, like I said, once it got denied, she gave me this other print. I'm like, well, this packet is longer than the MVR.
Hold on, let me ask you a question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So in filling out your application, you used the MVR?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you were denied, and you were given another sheet of paper, and it was longer than what was on the MVR?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Fields, of all these 12 different failures to appear and failures to pay, there's 2 that are not on there?
I believe so.
Okay.
Following the commission's ruling.
I'm not terribly concerned about having missed 2 out of 14.
Right.
I'm concerned about, I circled it. Everything's failure. You failed on everything.
The missing the court days and stuff like that.
Well, and failure to pay, the traffic violations.
Yeah, well, like I said, during the time frame, just with jobs and stuff like it, not having, but then, like I said, with the courts, like I pay.
Not having a job and stuff, you can make it to court.
Well, no, I'm saying like it's kind of confusing because you'll pay one thing at court and then they'll send you something in the mail, and so then I end up paying all those fees. But I've paid a lot of fees. I've paid over thousands of dollars and stuff.
I guess I'd ask our commission: does failure to pay things and failure to show up for court reflect on whether a person they might fail to show up for the job or fail to show up to pick up a ride? But
I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm just wondering what impact it has on our decision about whether to grant a permit or not. So.
We're following what I believe is
No, I'm throwing that out there because that's the one thing that concerns me is all 12 that are listed. There's the word "fail" in front of them.
Yes, sir, Matt. Am I able to speak now? I'm sorry. Am I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Does it show? I mean, like, how do you go about to show the things I've paid? Like, it doesn't list the things you've paid. I understand it does say failure to pay with this, that, the other, but I've paid all these debts and stuff like that because I wouldn't have been able to obtain my driver's license.
Well, that's what you do. You come in here and you tell us that you've done that and you've got a valid driver's license.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I just, because it's not showing, I don't want that to determine the character who I am. So that's all I'm saying. I understand you make your judgment off of the paperwork, but that's not the character of me. So I'm a dependable person. I go to work on time. I pick up people on time. Like I said, just sometimes you just have life hits you. You have different things occur, but other than that, I'm not a bad person.
That is actually a monumental task to have paid everything off and gotten your record straight so you can get your driver's license.
Yes,
you currently have a good valid
Yes, sir, I do. Would you like to see it?
No, we've got a picture here.
Okay.
That's commendable that you've done that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it shows issued March 12, 2018, and good through the 2026.
Yes, sir.
As long as you don't get a traffic violation.
Yes, sir. But no, that's like I said, that's not. I've done that. Been there, done that with it. I'm not trying to get any more. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep all my ducks in a row, keep paying that SR22. I let that come straight out of my checking account so I won't have any lapse. And that's really kind of been the situation. If you don't keep that SR22, that's when I keep running into the situation of my license being suspended and so on.
Nothing to disqualify her, Mr. Fields. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I thank you all kindly.
Motion passes. Next is Kevin Lucas, which was deferred from April.
In making his application, Mr. Lucas failed to disclose the 2016 giving alcohol to minors and the 2009 driving without a driver's license. There are no other violations that were charges that would prohibit him from being a driver.
It's brand spanking new. Mr. Lucas.
Can you tell us why you left off the other 2 arrests?
Sure. With the alcohol to minor, it was my 5th day on a new job. I was working at a hotel that had a concession area with a bar. So I hadn't received any training on serving drinks or providing alcohol to minors. So I was working at the desk checking several people in. It was a line of 5 or 6 people. And I saw 2 other people sitting at the bar along with, it was maybe 5 or 6 people at the bar. So an attempt to help my coworker out that was making coffee, Starbucks at the time, I asked the gentleman, how can I help you? He was like, yeah, we would like to order 2 beers. So not thinking, no training, 5th day on the job, I just went in the cooler, popped the thing off the bottle open off the beer, handed it to him, and at that point, they like, okay, sir, we need to see you. You didn't ask for ID, so on and so forth. Where's your manager? I was thrown away. I had never been in that situation before. Didn't know how to react, so.
ABC board, huh?
I'm sorry, yeah.
The ABC board.
Yeah, it was like, can you come from behind the counter? I'm like, okay, I'm looking around like, what is going on? Yeah, you just served alcohol to a minor. I'm like, okay. So yeah, didn't know anything about the procedures and what have you, so.
But my question was, why didn't you list that on your application?
Yeah, to get to that point, I'm sorry. I had forgot. Also, I spoke with the attorney that helped me out with this case. It was dismissed, and I was told by her that after 6 months, it get expunged from your record. So, once again, not making an excuse, but just forgot. I think it was going to be removed from my record, which I've been trying to call her for the last couple of weeks to see what was.
Because you thought it was going to be removed from your record, that's why you thought you didn't have to report it?
Well, the first point, I just forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either you forgot or you
I forgot,
you thought.
yeah. I forgot. It's the most valid point, I just forgot. I listed so many other things that...
But this was 2016 when this happened?
This was, yes, sir, 2016. I just moved here to Franklin. Well, just moved to Franklin probably 5 or 6 months before that with my wife and daughter.
Sounds like a pretty hard incident to forget about, though.
In retrospect, yes, sir. But kind of out of mind, out of thought. That should have been the first thing that I guess, in retrospect, I should have listed.
Did you lose your job because of the arrest?
I left the job. One thing I wrote down my notes I forgot to mention, that particular hotel, the Hilton Hyatt, they had already been fined 2 other times prior to this. So they shouldn't even had the ability to serve alcohol. That manager, when I went back a week later, the general manager had quit. The person that was training me had quit. I'm not even sure if that hotel is still even open.
So to answer his question, did you quit or did you get fired?
I left that job. Yes, sir. Okay. There was a second job. I was working at Delta during the day and worked at that hotel at night.
And then the 2009 driving without a license, why wasn't that listed?
I did not list that once again. I forgot, but I'm looking at my things that I did list here. There was a couple of things in 2009, 2008, 9, and 10. it was a difficult point in my life where I lost my grandmother, mother, and 2 uncles. So there was a lot going on in my life, and the license it was the fact that I just didn't, in rush with trying to remember, just didn't have it renewed. I was looking to see what was the violation, why it was suspended, and I couldn't locate that information. But I was traveling back and forth to Michigan, from Georgia to Michigan, and it was a mistake.
Say you got a wife and a child?
I've been married 14 years now, 11-year-old daughter.
Where else you working?
Right now I'm working for Nissan as a suite supervisor for the Titans. I have a part-time job at Lowe's. So kind of several jobs. I work for Crossmart as a retail merchandiser. I have about 12 Walmarts that I service.
Busy man.
You know, your charge was driving without a valid license, and you don't remember why it was.
I think maybe it just expired on my birthday.
Okay.
It
looks like it was. It looks like it was dismissed too. So.
Yes, sir. It was dismissed. Yeah. Just the fact of not renewing it.
Appreciate you dressing up or showing up here like that. I move to approve his application.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Jesse
Just
Smith's application.
Hey, guys.
Oh,
In making his application, Mr. Smith failed to list a 2010 charge of reckless, I apologize, I didn't finish the run, of 2010 charge, excuse me, reckless driving. Otherwise, he's qualified, other than leaving that out.
Were you charged originally with driving under the influence? It was reduced to reckless?
I had a few drinks, and my cousin was with me. He only had a couple beers. I let him drive my vehicle. We ended up getting pulled over. The officer said he failed the field test, so he got arrested and I got arrested for DUI. When we got a lawyer together, the lawyer dropped it down to reckless driving, and that's the only thing I forgot to mention on my application.
So you were charged as the owner-operator or owner of the vehicle, allowing another person who was under the influence to operate it?
Yes, sir.
And they reduced yours to reckless?
Yes, sir.
How'd you forget to put it down there?
I have a long history when I was younger of just different driving issues, and I tried to be as truthful as I could on my application, and that's just something I accidentally left off.
any other questions for Mr. Smith?
I move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thanks, guys.
Next, we've got some new company applications. Mr. Fields, is there any reason why we can't take these all at once? So we've got applications from Affy Limo, Ed Limo, Angelo's Limo Service, and AZ&B Affordable Limo Service.
Mess Fun Limo and Pinnacle Star.
I'm sorry. There were some on the right-hand side of the page. So, and also Easy Livery, and Mess Fun Limo and Pinnacle Star Limo.
They're all in order.
Make a motion to approve en banc.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We've also got some disciplinary issues to deal with today. We've got 3 complaints. The first is by James Bradford against taxi driver Taraku Yurga.
Mr. Bradford was going to be on telephone conversations. We attempted to make the connection earlier just prior to the meeting. The number that I have to call him on was coming back as not available number. So we could certainly try it again if you'd like to see if there was something wrong with the line, or we could reschedule for next month.
I guess we can try one more time and then just reschedule.
Dial the number correct.
The number you have dialed is
currently unavailable.
All right. Well, if we can, I guess, get a hold of Mr. Bradford after the meeting just to let him know
We'll do that.
We need a motion.
Ms. Jarrett, I apologize. We'll need to reschedule for next month. We'll be in touch.
do we need a motion to defer to next month?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I did not mean to speak for the commission on that particular issue.
Make a motion to defer the complaint by James Bradford to next month's meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We also have a complaint by Hervey Edwards against taxi driver Mohammed Nasser.
Mr. Edwards? And Mr. Nasser?
Hello, Mr. Edwards.
How you doing?
All right, you can make a statement if you'd like.
Yes, on the night that this whole situation happened, I was headed down toward 4th Avenue. I made a right-hand turn on 4th Avenue. At that time, yellow cab 50 was coming on 4th Avenue toward the Mumbrian. It was raining. There was a lot of people there. It was a Saturday night, I believe, actually Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. And the yellow taxi 50 does a U-turn on 4th Avenue, which is, people do that all the time. I came up close to him because I had the right of way, and he was turning to go in back toward the Mumbrian. I stopped. I blew my horn at him because I wanted him to know that he was in error. At that time, he pulls up and then backs up a little bit, rolls his window down, and throws something at my automobile. And then he takes off at a high rate of speed. I had passengers in the car. They were nervous about it. I was pretty upset about it myself because there was no need for doing that. And at that point in time, I did not contact the police. I looked at my car. I didn't see any kind of damage. But the fact that he threw something at me for no reason at all, and to a certain degree put my safety, my passenger safety in danger, it really ticked me off. And so that's when I came down and I made a formal complaint. Now, I actually have video of it, but I'm not tech savvy. I've got it on my little handheld. You can see the whole thing happen. Some kind of way, the yellow taxi 50 called me yesterday. I have no idea how he got my phone number. I told him I did not want to talk about it now. We can talk about it today or whatnot, because again, me personally, I'm just kind of fed up with some of the things that some of the taxis do downtown, putting people's safety at risk, all in attempts of catching a fare. So,
are you a driver yourself?
Well, I do. I've got my own service as well as I do driving for Uber, and I also do driving for Lyft with the luxury car area.
Were you on the job that night this happened?
That night I was driving a fare for Lyft at that particular time.
So you said you do have video on your phone?
Well, it's on my little tablet, and I can actually let you guys see it. I got it keyed up.
How'd you take this if you were
Well,
driving?
let's see. this isn't it. This is another situation. But
Is your issue that he made a U-turn in the middle of Fourth, or that
he threw something,
or that he threw something at your car?
I mean, I know that. I mean, people do that all the time as far as making U-turns. But I was upset at the fact that he threw something at my car. Let's see. Let me fast forward just a little bit. Fast forward just a bit more.
Is this like a dash cam?
Yes,
or?
it's my dash cam.
I see.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
There he is. That was a U-turn. And then it takes off.
And so he threw the object before this part, or
No,
they were about to see it?
Lowered the window and threw something.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch it.
So he threw it out of the passenger side of the car?
Yeah, he rolled down the passenger side window. There was nobody in the passenger side. He rolled that window down. The person that was in the backseat also rolled the window down. I wanted to make sure it wasn't the person in the backseat. It was the person that was in the front seat on the driver's side, reached out and threw something that hit my car. I guess it was a couple.
How many feet are between your car and his van there? Looked like
I don't know. I mean, you can guesstimate it.
well, it's hard to tell from the camera, but it didn't look like you were close to each other. Well, you were close to them.
Didn't look like he's like right up on top of him or anything.
Oh, okay. I saw
there
it
we
that
see
time.
it. Yeah, you see
I
it.
saw it that time.
So any damage to your vehicle?
No, there's no damage to the vehicle. But the fact that I drive you just don't throw something at a $50,000 Cadillac for no reason at all. And I'm not trying to brag, but I mean, that's my occupation, and that's how I make a living.
I just want to know if there was any damage.
All right, thank you, Mr. Edwards. Mr. Nasser? Did you throw something out your passenger window?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What was it?
It was a styrofoam cup.
Did you throw it out of your car out of anger?
When that event happened, pretty much everything that Mr. Edwards described is correct. I was making that turn, and I felt like he came up on me a little bit aggressively, because when I was making the turn, I felt like it was calculated to where I can make it and not be in his way and cause him any danger. I feel like he kind of came up on me to intimidate me, and then he kept blowing on his horn, and there was a little bit of anger, and I threw the cup out at him.
Who was in the taxi with you?
Just a passenger that I had.
So a fare?
Yes, sir.
What did that person say when they saw you roll the window down, throw the cup, and did they say something to you?
No, sir.
How do you think it affected them?
It probably, if they're a tourist, it probably gave them a negative image of Nashville, and just an image that we don't really want to portray to people.
Where did you take them?
I can't remember anymore.
Did they ask you to get out of the cab right away?
No, sir.
What about the speeding off?
I don't really recall speeding off at a high rate of speed. I thought I just drove off afterwards. I try not to speed that much, especially when I have passengers in the car.
You're not supposed to speed at all.
I try not to speed at all, especially when I have intoxicated passengers in the car because it leads to messes.
Was the person in the van that time intoxicated?
Yes, sir. Most likely, yes, sir. It was around closing time.
Yes or no? And if you don't know, just say I don't know.
I don't know.
Did you have a question?
No, I was just wanting to, I'm his manager, Doug Trimble with Yellow Cab, and I was going to speak after he.
Mr. Nasser, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you telling us this from your heart, or someone instructed you this is the best way to talk to us today?
No, this is what I actually feel. Mr. Edwards is correct that I did call him yesterday. I'm sorry if I bothered you. I called him to apologize for this. I didn't want to come up here and deny like other people have. I mean, I've done it. It was wrong of me. You know, it gives us a bad image, and I'm sorry.
Has anybody coached you in what you were saying today?
No, sir.
How'd you get Mr. Edwards' phone number?
It was on the complaint that the TLC sent me.
It becomes a part of the public record when we get a complaint.
I just thought Mr. Edwards might like to know.
Oh.
This is all sincere. I genuinely apologize to you. Nobody's told me what to tell you, and I know you do have a nice car, and I'm sorry. It was very immature of me, and I have no excuse for it. I'm sorry.
How long you been driving for Yellow Cab?
A little under 3 years.
Mr. Nasser ever been before us before?
He has not, nor his father.
Oh.
Oh.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
They asked if you'd ever been disciplined before the commission before, and you've not been present.
Yes, sir.
With us.
So does he have a family history of driving for cab companies?
Well, his father is also a driver and has been a driver for several years. And certainly has taught him how to be a driver. And Doug probably could speak more to it.
I guess I would have a question for Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards, are you satisfied with the apology? Is that what you were seeking here?
I just want to know the public record, that's all, because I just, there's a lot of craziness that goes on and a lot of chances that I've been hit 3 times by cabs, and I'm just kind of like fed up with it, and especially with just, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about the U-turn, because we all do it, okay? But it's just so much stuff that goes, we just don't get along, I guess, I don't know.
No, I mean just from Mr. Nasser and from Mr. Nasser in particular. We can't do anything about the.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I just wanted a public record. I accept your apology.
Thank you.
And you know, I'm not looking for yellow number 50 to do any harm or anything like that.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted a public record because, you know.
In case it happened again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, and I don't know if there's any disciplinaries or whatnot. I mean, he seems like he's a pretty good guy, so I'm satisfied with that, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably see him on the road again, and we'll probably say hi to one another, so I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You wanted to add some comments?
Yes, I would. Doug Trimble, manager at Yellow. I just like to say it's refreshing to see someone come up today after everybody that's been up before you guys today and take accountability and learning the particulars of this incident. No, I did not coach my driver on what to say. I promise you. But, you know, it's just refreshing to see someone take accountability for their actions. I mean, call it road rage, the summer heat or whatever. And I can't tell you how many incidents of, you know, between taxi drivers and Uber and Lyft drivers, they do pretty much dislike each other. We're all aware of that. And for these two guys to sit here and bring this to this conclusion is very enlightening and refreshing. I've never had any problems out of this driver nor his father. Seemed like a great guy. He threw a styrofoam cup. He's apologetic and he's taking responsibility for it. If you want to put him on probation for 2 or 3 months or a month or whatever, I will monitor his situation and actions. But it's just refreshing on how this ended. I thought it would might end differently. Be perfectly honest, they have a history of disliking each other, Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. I don't know what it brought to this point, to get to this point, exactly what happened. But he's apologetic and he's sincere. I believe he's sincere and taking accountability. So, anyway.
Mr. Fields, does this require any action by us, being that he has taken accountability?
You probably should take action on the complaint itself. It appears you could dismiss the complaint. You could find him that he was in violation, but there's no discipline action taken, or you could take no action at all. Or you could dismiss it. You could find him, find that there was a violation, or you take no action.
So, but
either way, it'll be obviously it's in the public record now.
I don't think it should be dismissed. I think that there was a violation of our regulations, and I think there should be an appropriate sanction. I do appreciate that, certainly, that Mr. Nasser has been very accountable for what happened, but that doesn't excuse what happened that evening. And certainly, Mr. Edwards, I appreciate his coming here, filing a complaint, doing exactly what we want citizens to do, so we can hold our drivers accountable to our rules.
So you said one of the possible options was to find him guilty isn't the word, but
find him in violation of section 6.72.430 under the prohibitive acts, the abusive conduct.
Okay, so find him in violation, but not have any sanctions.
You could do as Mr. As Doug suggested. You could find him. You could do anything from nothing, reprimand, to probation, to suspension, to revocation. But you certainly could find him. I think you could find him in violation and then reprimand him as well.
Mr. Nasser, what do you feel like you've learned from this situation?
I've learned that I can't just kind of do things out of a fit of rage and not be held accountable for it. I mean, this is a pretty serious hearing. I had to leave work for this, and it's not like it's my cab, my rules, and I can do whatever I like. I've learned to treat others with more respect as well, and not to act out of anger and do things to spite people.
Start thinking about why on this particular incident you were triggered into rage and taking actions that had consequences, and at other times you never have. Why on this particular night that happened? I don't need an answer. You need to think about it, though.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make a motion to find him in violation of the sanction, however, with no
suspension,
but take no issue, no sanction.
Take no further action. Yes.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Nasser, I would consider yourself very lucky. If I were a voting member, I would have voted no, and would have insisted that you be put on probation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was expecting a lot worse from this, and I really appreciate you guys for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we also have a complaint against Joyride by Emmett Martin.
Mr. Martin could not be present today. He does have a complaint. He has a company representative here.
My name is Jeremy Wist. I'm here on behalf of Emmett Martin, who is out of town. But this is another complaint from Emmett Martin against Joyride, this time with 6 passengers on the golf cart. I believe you all have a picture, but if not, I do have one printed out. This was an ongoing issue last summer as well, which is why Joyride is currently on a probation through July. There's clearly too many people on this golf cart. There's 3 people on the back. Emmett actually has a video from his dash cam of them on the back, waving, having a great time. And that's where this complaint came from. But every time that we've come up with a complaint or somebody else has had a complaint against Joyride, it's kind of just been a small slap on the wrist, and it's continuing to go, and it's going to hurt the rest of the tourism industry with everybody on the pedicabs, the golf carts, and the pedal carriages as well.
What is the, how many people are you allowed to have on this?
6.
You're allowed to have 6?
6 total. This was 6 passengers and a driver.
Are you looking at the photo? Is there indeed 7 people on that?
I just count 5. I requested Billy to send me another photo just because the one I have doesn't show.
You've got what I've got.
Do you have your driver with you, Mr. Sassmore?
No, we have a 0 tolerance for any kind of. This is a company rule and not a driver regulation. So we have a 0 tolerance. If they break the rule, we just immediately let them go.
So you've already determined for yourself he broke the rule?
Just if there's if there's a rule broken or someone says there's a rule, we just automatically let them go. Because the last time we brought up a driver in front of this commission, we were shut down for 10 days. So we have a 0 tolerance for any kind of. And for me, I see no seatbelts, and that's a clear violation that I see. But I didn't see how many people were on the vehicle.
So you terminated the driver when you got the complaint?
Correct. It's, if we could change it to a driver rule, because I would love for the drivers to come up here and to explain themselves on what happened, but we just.
That would insulate you, but the thing I want is I want the owner of the company to have some responsibility for the drivers. Even though you call them independent contractors and everything, the rubber really meets the road by you guys enforcing these rules before they go out or reminding them, we are just after the fact. And you're on the front end.
Yeah, this was this driver's very first shift. Mm-hmm. And the other problem that we're having is we're scared that someone would send somebody there to get a job just to drive around with more people on the vehicle, just to shut us down. Because
that's why we were asking you, what do you do to vet the people who come up to be drivers? And you said, well, I let the TLC do that.
75%.
Just when we were talking to Mr. Jeter there. You're going to have to start vetting them yourselves.
75% of all applicants that come through our company don't follow through with the process because we sit down with them and we almost scare them into understanding that if anything's left off of that, the application, they're going to have to come through and do all this and be on TV. And most people request for where can they go get that. We've tried to pull records online. Every place is completely different. It just depends on the website you pay for. We haven't found one to be approved yet.
So this was this driver's first shift. And he's out there blatantly without seatbelts and possibly with 7 people in the vehicle.
Correct.
So what happened between giving the keys to the golf cart and it going out on the road that he just blatantly blew it off?
From what he told the GM, that he didn't know that they were back there. His seatbelt was on, and he was nervous, and he apologized.
Had he already gone through some kind of like apprentice training or?
Yes, he just went through his driver training and everything, so it was his first shift.
First solo shift, or does he have to ride
Correct.
shotgun?
No, there's a drive around with another driver to begin with.
But we would like to tell these drivers, we'd love to bring them up here for y'all to discuss these things with them, because right now, this guy doesn't care, because all he can do is go get another job. It puts everybody else, right now we have 75 drivers, I believe, out of work.
Yeah, but you're here a lot. Why wouldn't you just kind of bring some of the new guys, let them sit in the back?
Because the last time we were here, the lady that had the issue where she went on the wrong road, she was actually paying for her dialysis. She was going to pass away. And she was up here, and y'all just said that you didn't think she was apologetic about the situation. She was on bed rest right after that complaint, and we didn't see her till that day of the meeting here. So she got up here, and we asked her to please come up here and tell her side of the story, because she'd been bedridden. And the only reason she was driving for us is to pay for her dialysis. And she came up here, and she left here, and we haven't heard from her since. I mean, she was devastated to that point. And it devastates us all that our drivers don't have a voice. And it's me that has to be worried when my driver does something instead of the drivers, because they could just go get another job. Me, this is what I do for a living.
But to that point, couldn't it be a required part of the training to sit in for part of a commission meeting so that people understand the gravity of what they're trying to do and the repercussions of what can happen if they don't follow the rules? But
there is no repercussions for a driver, only for the owner of this company. Taxis, they do. People come up and y'all reprimand them. For this particular situation, it's just me.
Yeah.
Just to speak to if I may, one of the issues that we have is very often when it's a taxi cab, it's very clear who in most cases we're going to know who the taxi cab driver is when we get the complaint. Because while in the past cabs were shared by drivers, you might have as many as 3 people driving cabs and at least as many as 3 shifts. Now with low-speed vehicles, and I understand what he's saying, but it's challenging for us to know if the companies. We certainly could put a protocol together when we get a complaint. The company could advise us who the driver is, and we can bring the driver. Doesn't mean we wouldn't bring the company. We could bring the driver as well. But it's almost impossible because of the nature of the low-speed vehicle industry is, from our perspective, is to be able to identify the drivers, because the drivers do not own the vehicles as opposed to the cab drivers who do own the vehicles.
We do have owners of vehicles. It is based on the exact same replication of
I was not aware of that. It was my impression you owned all the vehicles. We'll probably need to talk about that later.
Okay.
We know who this driver is.
Yes.
And you fired
AJ
that driver.
Yes,
That's how we know you know who the driver is, because they've been fired.
Well, on the date of the complaint, we have a sign-in sheet, the card availability, we have GPS location, we have sign-in sheets, we have logs of when they request the shift.
The problem that you're bringing to us is that the drivers don't really care whether they get fired from Joyride, because they go on and get another job. And you're left standing here at the podium with the consequences of being shut down.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried everything. I've tried everything I could possibly do with.
So what are you going to do to make sure your drivers understand the consequences, understand that they have got to comply with the rules?
I mean, I could fine them, I could probation, I would love to do as much as humanly possible. All I can do now is either sue them if we lose money, that I guess there could be a lawsuit that way.
I just don't understand why drivers don't conform their behavior when they realize they're going to get fired by Joyride if they violate the rules.
If we could make it a driver rule, and if we tell the drivers, if you break this rule, you're going to have to go in front of a committee, you're going to be put on probation, you're going to be under the same rules as a taxi, you could be on probation, you'll have the right to do anything. But whenever
that's wonderful, but it seems to me it's even more drastic to them to be fired and not have a job than to be then come before us and be put on probation.
Not on his first day of the job. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then, I apologize. I was nervous. I didn't see the people in the back. And that's all I can do technically.
I understand your frustration, but you also have to understand. I mean, I run a transportation company as well, and I'm regulated by DOT and the federal government, so it's a little bit different. But it's still an accountability issue. I would love for the DOT just to find my drivers and leave me alone. It doesn't quite work that way because of the fact that you are issuing someone permission to drive property or non-property that you have under your licensing, which automatically makes you responsible, independent contractor or not. I hire independent contractors, still responsible for whatever they do. And yes, it is an easy out for them just to say, I'll go get another job. It's still your company.
Correct.
And so we still need you to be held accountable, because it's, in the end of the day, it's not Jake ride, Bob ride, Susie ride, it's Joy ride.
Correct.
And so I would advise you to find some kind of way. And trust me, I know it's not easy. I'm in your shoes on a bigger rig level.
Yeah.
To make them understand the gravity of your pocket and your business.
Yeah.
If they mess up.
Yeah. I'm there every day. We have meetings monthly, and we tell those guys, listen, do you not see this? We're showing them pictures. If you do this, this is what happens. You put everybody's job into jeopardy. We got shut down that one time, and you put 125 people out of work for a week. I mean, there were people that got evicted and this and that, and I'm trying my hardest to not be upset at these people to the point where I ask them politely. I can threaten them.
Mr. Fields, the drivers of low-speed vehicles themselves are subject to the
Absolutely.
rules.
What we have to do is have charges against the drivers.
Correct.
Again, if I'm going to speak as if what I think. If we were to call a company and they could identify the driver to us, we can bring the driver in. In this particular case, we have no evidence of anything. We know the vehicle's being driven, but all we know is the vehicle, who the vehicle belongs to, unless somebody can identify the driver. Cabs, are very different. At least I thought they were. We'll have to talk about that later. But the cabs are assigned by vehicle. Low-speed vehicles are not.
Yes, we assign them.
Well, they're not to us. We've never required it.
Okay.
We may start requiring you to give me the same monthly reports and daily changes that you make, that you may want to think about that before you're required to do the same thing the cabs do. Who also pay a lot more to be.
Not to be here and be in the situation, I'd pay whatever.
It just take a lot more staffing, but we certainly can add staffing levels. But it's the difference between the thousands of dollars paid through the cabs and the hundreds that are paid through low speeds.
What's the name of this driver that's in this that you fired as a result of this violation?
AJ Shears.
What?
AJ Shears.
So we can revoke AJ Shears' permit.
We'd have to give him notice and bring him in. I don't know if he's active driver right now.
If you look in that,
he would love to come back.
In that side mirror, that guy's reflection in there, that's AJ. That's how you figured that out.
That's what my GM told me who it was. Well, I looked at the time date and the cart. So that's all we need to do to see who's on the vehicle at that time. All of our carts are scheduled through a scheduling app, Workforce. So if it's a band on the road, they can pull in their shift without being around.
It looks to me like Emmett Martin and others are following you guys carefully, and we're going to have more complaints, and you will be able to identify the driver and be able to tell Mr. Fields who it is when the complaint comes in.
No matter what complaint, I've always been able to know who it is, and that's definitely not an issue. And, Emmett is a company that requested that I purchase his permits, and I turned him down, and then this complaint comes up. So I could see why he would like to get rid of me.
Well, he was here two times ago, right? Mm-hmm. Against your company.
Correct.
With a complaint against your company.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, our complaints, if we have any driver complaints with us and other LSV companies, usually isn't an issue. We discuss it. We meet for lunch and things like that.
So they brought the complaint about too many passengers in the vehicle, and you've noticed that there were no seatbelts as well.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
We have cars that have three seatbelts, so having three people in a row is not against the rule or regulation.
The total the vehicle is actually assigned to have. If they can have that many, you can't have more than 7 passengers on. According to the ordinance, you have no more than 7 passengers on the vehicle, but they also have to have seat belts and so forth.
Correct. So we have seat belts for up to 7 on some of our vehicles, just because of smaller kids. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, guys, if there's anything else I could do other than want to strangle these people.
I feel your pain, but, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should bring back AJ Shears.
Is Mr. Shears currently driving? He's not driving for you. Is he driving for the other
He's not. I don't know who he's driving for. But he'd recommend. He would love to come speak, and that's fine because they can tell you the process that we go through, and we try to beat it into their head and the rules. And they have to sign like 5 or 6 different things. They have to take a test on this. It's posted on the door.
Even though he's not currently working for a low-speed vehicle company, he still has a driver permit, correct?
If we certainly can issue him a letter to come in, and we could take this action up at the point we can get him in.
Given his blatant disregard for the rules, I think we need to get him in
If he
here
fails to
and
appear, you
review.
can revoke in his absence if we know he's been notified.
I think that would be a good idea.
Can we put him on for the June agenda?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, what about the complaint against Joyride?
Well, on all the companies, I will give, and I'm not defending one or the other, what the low-speed vehicle companies do, and the pedals as well, when they come in, they put them through at least a level of training and level of discussion. Lots of documents have to be read and signed and said we've read them. Now, whether or not they're reading them, whether or not they're understanding them, whether or not they're abiding by the rules of the company and the rules of the commission is all about, do we get a complaint or do we find them ourselves? It is challenging for any company to be responsible. Not true. Every company is responsible for every driver that they have, whether it's a low-speed company or a booting company or anything that we regulate. When we give them the authority to operate, we expect the company to be responsible. What I think the commission has done in the past is look, did the company act prudently once the complaint was brought to its attention? Have they acted prudently on other kind of complaints or their patterns that they're working to enforce their own rules as well as the commission rules? That doesn't mean that there's not going to be an issue where there are not enough violations from a company to take action on the company. But again, I know when I go out to Joyride, there's the big map on the wall that says this is where you can operate. If I go over to cruising, there's the big map, and then don't go out of zone, buckle up. I mean, it's certainly. I mean, again, from that standpoint, there's lots of notifications going on. Is that enough? I don't know, because we still have violations, and more violations that don't come from the commission that we can't bring case because we don't have enough proof.
And it sounds like they're resolving some of them between the companies as well.
It's always good for the companies to work together, especially if there are irritations between that may cause something else to happen. Violations should be brought forward, but sometimes pressures between companies force people looking for other kind of violations and things.
And I understand that these are not career jobs for the employees that you have, so that's probably a little bit of your issue. They ain't got 401k and retirement programs with Joyride. I don't know if you have those in place, but I imagine trying to express these are the rules and how serious they are to someone that in their brain this is a temporary job anyway is a little challenging for you.
Yeah, my top 20 drivers have been with me 4 years, and this is a career for them. I mean, that's all they do, nonstop, year-round. It's the new drivers that we have issues with that we can only tell them so many times, don't be on this road, and then they accidentally go on that road, and it's like, we let them go. I mean, once the GPS, I know Cruising reports it to him whenever they go out of bounds and things like that, and those are things that we try to do too, and we just let them go. I mean, you're putting everybody's life in jeopardy. Everybody that works there. I mean, we were at 220 drivers at one point, and then the regulations went into effect and back down. And the process that we have to go through is a scary process to get your permit. It's a lot more than Lyft and Uber. When people are like, well, Lyft and Uber don't have to do this, let's just do that. No one else has to do this. There's no other taxi companies that have to. I mean, all their drivers are regulated as a driver. Our drivers are not. All the rules are regulated towards a company as a whole. And I don't know what I do, just get rid of all my drivers except for the ones that have been with me for 4 years and understand what happened back whenever we did have a violation and they shut our company down. I mean, shutting our company down and having that guy back that had that violation wouldn't probably be a safe place. And I mean, the amount of people that would be upset at you, not only myself, is probably very uncomfortable.
My education on this, Do you pay a salary to your drivers, or are they tip only?
Yes, it's 50-50 split. Any revenue that's created on the card is split 50-50.
So the tips that are paid to the drivers, it's split with the company 50-50, or 50 to the company, 50 to the driver?
Correct.
All right, so it's all tip-based?
Correct. And that's why we try to put them through the band ambassador class and try to make sure that the experience is a joyful experience. And you know, we try to push education. We have once a month class to talk about who's doing good and who's doing bad. We have, you know, if there is any kind of review that's on TripAdvisor thing, you're taken off tour rotations, you're taken off your cart, you're reprimanded as much as we possibly can do to the point.
And you're making some revenue on the advertising on the vehicles, right?
We do. That mostly just covers our insurance. Our insurance is probably $250,000 to $300,000 a year here in Nashville, just for our little operation.
I'd make a motion to abstain on this complaint and pass it to the June meeting when we have Mr. Shearer in.
I'm sorry.
When we have the driver in.
Just defer it.
Defer it, yeah.
Do you have other locations?
Yes, 5 other cities. We've got 5 other cities, and then we have a travel and fleet of 36 cars to go to every NASCAR race. We've did over 2.4 million rides since inception in multiple cities. Most of our other cities, there's no routes indicated. Most of the cities don't allow seatbelts because they don't want the cars to even have seatbelts. They want them to be able to get off. Most of them are college towns: Knoxville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and then our traveling fleet now. And then we've got 6 other cities opening up. So the gentleman that was here, actually, he's been working in Knoxville, so he's been driving and in our Knoxville location, and is looking to open up another location for us that we can see. He wants to be close to the beach. So
trouble for you.
Yeah.
All right, is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
We'll defer to next month. Have Mr. Shears here. All right, Mr. Fields, let's see, we've got one other item of business. We need to review a TLC staff report on Music City Touring regarding Ken Ross paying fine that was levied against him. Mr. Fields?
You'll recall that in an earlier meeting, Mr. Ross was, I believe it was the April meeting, in the March meeting, you issued a fine and a violation against Music City Touring. He had a period of time in which he should have paid a permit. He had 30 days to pay the fees that you assessed against him. He did not show up on time, and the payment was made on May the 1st. I invited him to be here today to explain why he was, actually I sent him a letter saying he should be at this meeting today to explain why he did not pay the fine on time. The reason that, the purpose for that was for no particular reason other than when the commission orders something to do it, I anticipate that you expect them to do it in the time period that they were given to do it. He did not. In his calls to me, he after the fact, he disputed it, and I'll speak for him because he's not here. He said he did not, that he tried to reach us. We can find no record that he tried to reach us. We can show record, at least in testimony from staff if need be, that someone called late in afternoons from an unknown number asking for me and then hung up when I wasn't available. So maybe that was him. I'm not alleging that. I have no information to that effect. I'm just saying I have no record that he made an email or two. I told him what he needed to do, and that was pay the fine and pay it on time.
Did he express to you when paying the fine that he had some kind of dire circumstance that prevented him from paying the fine?
He expressed that he had some confusion about when, where, to who, who to make the check to, and then I suspect there were funds not available. Would have been my guess based on the conversation we had. The fine is paid.
But these conversations were all after he paid the fine?
I'd have to go back and look. He actually sent 1 or 2 emails. I'm going to look around. He sent an email before the fine. We instructed him with information on what to pay.
He wasn't sure how much the fine was and when the fine was due and who to make the payment to.
Prior to the deadline, we advised him in an email, and at that point he was receiving my emails. You'll recall that he had some problems getting my emails, but he's gotten all of my emails since.
And his actual communications with you occurred when he started explaining things after he paid the fine?
After the deadline.
He had no
was
problem
missed.
reaching you after he paid the fine.
Correct.
But before paying the fine, he seemed to,
Well,
says he was trying to reach you, but
He
never
emailed
did.
me and we advised him where he needed to know who, when,
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
and so forth. We advised him that prior to the event.
Prior to the deadline,
He missed the
too.
deadline,
Yeah.
and, well, and again, we sent him a letter.
What do you
I didn't-
recommend?
Well, let me add something as well to what Mr. Fields is saying, because Mr. Ross contacted my office directly, either on the 8th or 9th of May, seeing if he could clear up the issue regarding his having to come before us later this month. I suggested to him to send Mr. Fields a detailed letter or email, something in writing that tried to explain his circumstances. He did that. He sent that to me and Mr. Fields on May 9th. I'm looking at it right now. That explained his circumstances as to why he was late making the payment. What I'm not clear is if was there any subsequent communication between you and Mr. Ross after he sent that email where you instructed him you need to appear before us?
He received a letter was mailed from commission office, and an email was sent to him.
Was that after the 9th?
Because
I just want to make sure
the email was certainly sent after the 9th.
I just want to make sure he's well aware that even after sending the lengthy email, he needed to be here.
Actually, the letter went out of the office on the 9th.
Yeah.
And the email to me, I'd have to go back and look, but I'm sure the email went out after that as well.
Was there any reply to the email?
Did you say? You said
There was not. We certainly could ask him to come back at the June meeting to make sure it's clear.
Let's call him up. What do you think?
I think I want to make sure that we follow all of our rules and regulations. Prior to taking any action to him, I'm the one that always gives a reasonable doubt and the benefit of the doubt. I think he should be summoned to the commission meeting in June, and he should be able to explain himself. If he fails to appear in June, we should take that as I think the commission would be I think you're within your authority of taking action against him right now. However, because the action that I think that I would recommend you take would directly affect his business and his livelihood, in great desire to make sure we don't violate any sort of federal law, state statute, or local ordinance, I would suggest we bring him in. We ask him to come at the June meeting, and with full understanding that his certificate of convenience and public necessity is in peril. Potentially in peril.
And so just so that go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Just so that I'm clear, to this day, he has not made the payment.
He has made the payment.
He's paid
Yes.
on May
The
1st.
payment was actually made.
It was just made late.
May 1st.
He's made 10 days late. I wonder what interest on that would be at 10 days. Well, I make a motion to defer this review to the June meeting.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I have no more business, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And you know, my impassioned plea did not go out loud. They just cut to the planning commission.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.